Well, the streaming is now on. Good afternoon, everybody. This is Gulf Harbour Radio, ZMH 286, Patricia and David. And looking out the window, you would wonder what we had been moaning about for today, because it is actually about 30% cloud cover. Lovely sunny evening, but boy, did we have a torrid morning. We had about 3 fronts go through, lots of rain, lots of wind, but now it has dropped and backed a bit. It's 11 knots from the west-southwest. And it's 19 degrees 1003. But the boats getting closer are certainly moaning about what we have been experiencing. Ruffian is at 3023, 174 degrees 34 east, 185 true at 5 knots, with sea state rough and uncomfortable, and they can't keep a pot on the stove. Boy, no tea on Ruffian. That's terrible. Okay, and Camelot, a bit further south, 31 degrees 03.7 south, 173 degrees 25 east on a course of 190 true, straight down into the bowels of the Bay of Islands, 5.3, and not motoring today. Obviously, it's now 18 knots from the southwest. The bar is 1011 and steady, 20% cloud cover, moderate to rough, breaking seas, 2.5 to 3.5 metres from the southwest. So it's pretty bouncy on Camelot. They will be enjoying it slowly going down overnight, and a good welcome into the bay tomorrow. Boy, even the dolphins will be complaining about those sorts of conditions. Okay, what we'll do tonight, there's not too many boats left on passage, but there is a handful going to depart tomorrow from both Fiji and Tonga. So let's do tonight's ones. Coho, Gulf Harbour.
Gulf Harbour, Coho, good evening.
Wow, good signal from you, Gordon, and hello to Louise. Go ahead.
Okay, this evening we're at 21 minutes south, 169 degrees, 53 degrees east, or minutes east, and 135 true, 3 knots, and the wind is south-southeast, about 8 knots, and all well on board, over.
Well, there's no rooster tail behind Coho tonight. 2721 south, 169 degrees 53 east, on a course of 135 true at 3 knots, with the south-southeast 8. You probably wonder what all the other people are talking about with the winds that we've got further east. And all is well on board. So I guess you're just being patient. Over.
Yeah, only one correction there, Patricia. South-southwest, not south-southeast. And yes, our patience is good. We're concerned about running out of food because we've been eating like mad, so we don't have to throw anything out. But we're going to be out here for a while.
Yep, I'll wait and see what David's got shortly, but yes, it does look rather peaceful in your part of the world, and you couldn't even catch a fish at that speed. Rubicon today on their way down from Vava'u to Tongatapu caught a mahi-mahi, so it's a pity you're not near them.
Don't rub it in.
Oh, I'm not allowed to rub it in. Sorry.
Good time for
Well,
a diet.
it's a good time to clean up the stocks in the boat. You don't want to have stuff hanging over for the summer, do you? All right, we'll talk to you tomorrow, Gordon, and just enjoy them. Well, at least there's enough wind to sort of keep your boat moving and not wallowing, so that's good. Okay, we'll leave you in peace there and go to Alula, Gulf Harbour. Nothing heard from Alula. Let's try Cambria, Gulf Harbour. Well, it's very light, but I do need to get your position because the AIS is over a day old. I'm not sure what's happened to your AIS, Rob, but I do not have an up-to-date position. So I'm hoping that you will be able to be clear enough to read, and maybe Mike on Kotanui, who's not that far from you, can also lend his ears. But go ahead, Rob. Very, very loud and clear, please. Over. Good copy, thank you. 22 degrees 40 south, 157 degrees 55 east. Carry on. Okay, I've actually got that except for the swell. Could you repeat? There's a bit of lightning crackling in the atmosphere, and I missed the swell, please. Over. Okay, we've got Cambria doing 6 knots on a course of 351 true, with 15 knots from the south-southeast, a 1 metre swell, 20% cloud cover, and 1013. And is all well on board for you and Charlene. Over. Okay, that's good. Thank you for that. Yeah, I don't know what's happened with the AIS, but it's not giving a report for you. And David wants your position. 22 degrees 40 south, 157 degrees 55 east. Okay? Okay. All right, let's go to Kotanui, who is heading down to Port Resolution. Mike, are you on frequency? I suspect they might be there. I'll just go back to Alula, Gulf Harbour. Nothing heard. Mackay. Yeah, I'm glad you're there, Barry. Go ahead.
Okay, great. Yeah, I couldn't get in there before that earlier, but very light, so I just think it may be propagation. Anyway, my position is 13 degrees 18 minutes south, 173 degrees 52 minutes west. The course over ground of 255 course over ground. I'm doing 4 knots to 4 and a half knots in light winds. Currently the winds are 8 to 8.5 knots, so let's call it 8.5 because it's gusting up to 9. The sea condition, I've got maybe half a meter out of the east. The winds are also out of the east, and sky is about 90%, and I have light rain at the moment. With the bar is 10-10. The bar is 10-10. That's down 10 points since yesterday. Over.
What's his ETA?
Okay, David wants to know what your ETA in Wallace is. Over. What is your ETA in Wallace? Over.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking Friday.
Okay, so Friday, he's just having a look at what's happening. 1318 south for Mackay on his way from Samoa to Wallace. 173 degrees 52 west. Course is 255 true. He was going over the top of American Samoa. 4 to 4.5 knots boat speed. 8.5 knots of wind speed from the east, with the swell only half a metre from the east. 90% cloud cover with light rain at the moment. 1010. Okay, Yep, and an ETA of Friday. Okay, so you won't be wanting to break any sound barrier records tomorrow. Over.
Yeah, Roger, I've already looked at the weather and I can see that it's going to get very light. In fact, the motor will probably come on in the morning and I'll motor the rest of the way. I'm not far. Right now I'm 137 nautical miles from the pass, over.
Oh, that's not too far, is it? 137 to the pass. Okay, and you've been there before, I think, anyway. All right. Well, maybe things might change, but otherwise you'll be looking at ambling in, because you probably don't want to use a heap of gasoline, because you will need to get to Fiji after that. Okay, I wonder if you could give Alula a call, because if propagation is a bit poor, they might hear you, Barry. Over. Ah.
Yeah, I hear you in your Jimmy, but very, very light. Not well enough to even copy. I just can tell it's your voice. I'll turn it back to Gulf Harbor Treasury. Hearing it all.
Yeah, I've got him quite strong actually, Jimmy, but he said that he's got a high SWR, which probably doesn't want to use the radio too much until he works out what might be causing that. Anyway, you are coming through well here now, Jimmy. Over.
Thank you, Trish. You're very right. I don't know what's causing it. Over.
Yeah, well, you're okay, so if you are happy to use the engine, just give us your position and conditions. Over. No, he's not wishing to abuse the radio with the high SWR, but as it's been working perfectly, there must just be something that might be a connection or something that's amiss. What I'll do now is I'll look up your AIS to see how long it is since it was reported. We have quite a few boats wanting to leave over tomorrow or the next day. Sauvage from Fiji and Inia from Tongatapu. Thetis is looking, Rubicon's looking, quite a few people. So I'm going to pass the microphone over to David and see what he's about to say. I'll even listen myself.
Oh, well, you always do. Of course. All right. Well, good evening to all of our listeners. So on to the good old synoptic picture. And speaking of that, looking at Barry's arrival on Friday, it looks like he may welcome a trough as he arrives on Friday. The weather's going to make a change, I think, up there. Anyway, the cold front has passed over the North Island finally, and the new high enters the Tasman. Now, as we said yesterday, it's weak. The central pressure looks like it's about 1016 millibar, 1016 millibar. And that's going to ensure light air, unfortunately, in the area that's midway between Fiji and New Zealand, or Tonga and New Zealand. Not much air. Now, by Friday, a trough is going to affect most of Fiji. Actually, that trough is going to be affecting Fiji probably tomorrow. It's just to the southwest of the group of islands up there. I'm looking at satellite picture right now, and it's very, very close. That's also going to affect northern Vanuatu. And the satellite imagery, it appears that there's quite likely to be thunderstorm activity in the Lau group for those boats that are in the Lau, as northeast winds are looking to converge with the southeasterlies. So that's on Friday. Now, looking at Saturday, for those boats that have left, I guess, by then, Saturday, still light air between Fiji and New Zealand. Still trough activity for Fiji and Nuku'alofa, in fact. Now the high makes a big stretch on Saturday. In other words, it's ridging east-west. It's just almost looks like a hot dog, if you will. And at the date line, the isobars, all three of them really, between 21 south and 27, they make a little bit of a slight bend in a polar direction. Now, that's important for the simple reason that this typically causes a convective area, creating at that point a little trough. And that's probably going to affect Minerva as well. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. On Monday, jumping a couple of days, that polar bend may turn into what we call a polar dip. And that may in fact create a depression, but it's east. So it's around 25 south and 170 west. 25 and 170. Now the models plainly disagree on whether this depression becomes stronger or it just simply fizzles out. We're just going to have to wait a day or so to see. Either way, though, it won't affect yachts that will be on passage between Fiji, Tonga, and New Zealand. So anyhow, by Wednesday the 6th, looking quite a ways in the future, our high starts to take shape finally, and it's going to provide very nice southeast breezes on the rum line between Fiji and 30 south. Now below 30, westerly quadrant winds are going to be taking over, and that's because of the shape of that high and what's after it and below it. So en route, you may encounter pretty much some light troughs embedded in this high that we're talking about. This is quite normal to have happen. Whether or not the Met services pick it up on their synoptic charts, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. You could see it on the models. Some of the models do pick up the areas of rain, drizzle, that sort of thing, but they're not anything to worry about to speak of. It's just a change. Drizzle wets the boat down a little bit, maybe squalls in the evening, but daytime really not too much, and then pretty soon you sail out of it, or it moves off, or they move off, because there are quite a few of them in there that I could see. So anyway, in summary, things look pretty good through Friday the 8th for those of you that are on passage or starting the passage today or tomorrow. So that's the story from here, and there's really not much to add to that. The folks that are in Tonga, I'm looking right now at a satellite image that is just what is it? It's an hour old, and quite a bit of cloud activity in the Tonga Tapu area. A bit in the Hapais, not a whole lot up in Vava'u. The forecast for Tonga Tapu tomorrow is for light rain. Easterly winds maybe about 10 to 15, and temperatures look to be about 27 and a minimum of 21. That's getting a bit cool. So that's the story for Tonga Tapu, and I'm afraid if you do leave, you're going to be smack dab in the middle of this cloud. Some of it is broken, but quite a bit of it looks fairly dense, so we'll just have to see for those boats that are underway. They give us a nice little report on the radio as to what the conditions are. Be curious to see. So that's it. That's the basic summary for the next few days, and good luck to those of you that are underway, and hopefully we'll hear from you as you head south. And with that, here's the chief.
Well, that doesn't sound too bad, does it? And I've just looked up Alula's position. This is the 5 p.m. position. It was 28 degrees 25 south, and 175 degrees 42 east. They are on a course of 142 true, hard on it I would imagine, 3.2. Boat speed with the southwest 15, that's the AIS, because they've got a high SWR on the radio. And Kotanui are about a day away from port resolution. 3 minutes ago they were at 19 degrees 42 south, 17157 east. They've got south-southeast 20, so they were doing 6.6 on a course of 282 to port resolution. So in tomorrow. Okay, is there anybody, I'll just go back, see if there's any questions on streaming. I exit my distance tool here. It's like Houston control at the moment. No, nobody has got questions on streaming. Is there anybody on radio who has anything to add or is on passage, wants to give a position or have a radio check? Now is your chance. Yeah, hi. Well, it could be a host of things, but as it's been working absolutely perfectly, I am the first thing I would look at is the connections to your antenna. Look at the way the backstay, maybe there is something's just happened where it goes through the hull. Just check the connections from the actually from where your lead line goes off the backstay and down through. Just check all those connections first. But your signal is excellent, so it's not too bad. Not too bad. It's all connected. It's just there's something electrically amiss. Maybe the ground plane is. I don't know, but it will be probably connections. Over. Okay, give you something to do. All right, is there anybody else?
Trish, could you ask me how high is SWR?
Yeah, how high is the SWR? That's a question from Barry, because if it's sort of only 2, then it's sort of not too much of a concern, but if it's much higher, then yeah. What is it? What is the SWR, Jimmy? Over.
Off the graph.
Oh dear, well that's not good. Off the graph, says Jimmy. So yep, you wouldn't be wanting to. It's funny that it's got such a good signal, but off the graph is certainly going to have to be looking at things. Any ideas, Barry? Over.
Does it change with power?
Yeah, I'm concerned that the tuner may not be tuning properly, and you probably will want to unplug the connection on the back of the radio where the tuner actually hooks up, and plug that back in. Make sure that that connection as well is good as well. And when he pushes the tune button, we should be able to hear the tuner engage and go through its tuning routine. Apart from that, everything you told him to do, Trish, is exactly spot on. It's what I would do the same. His antenna is a wire antenna. It's a random wire. I made it for him, and he has it spaced off of his backstay by about 4 inches. So he just wants to make sure that that antenna isn't touching his backstay anywhere as well. But that's about all I have of it.
Okay, I'll repeat that in case you didn't hear it on Alula, Jimmy. But yes, the Barry is concerned that it's not tuning properly, although you are coming through really well. So just check, pull out at the back of the radio where the line goes to the tuner. Just pull that out and push it back in again, and check the same thing with that line from the, you've got a long wire by the sound of it, check at the outside as well. So that's about as much as we can do here.
Listen for the tuner.
Oh, that's right, listen for the tuner, says David. Well, yeah, what I would do is go to another frequency, for example 4 megs, and push the tune button and have Gemma try and listen for, she should be able to hear the tuner tuning, and then go back to 8 megs like this frequency and push the tune button again and make sure you can hear it doing something, tuning. So that's the other thing to do. So if you can't hear anything, then you have got a problem with the tuner. So that will be the next thing that we could look at. Anyway, hopefully I won't even ask you to respond, but hopefully you can work on that one tomorrow or tonight or whenever you're bored. Okay, all right, folks, especially the folks that are looking at leaving tomorrow. We'll talk to you tomorrow night on radio, as well as the other ones that are there. Looks like the winds are, the high winds and the horrible seas are dropping, so that will be rather nice. And we'll be back again tomorrow. So this is Gulf Harbour Radio. Clear, and have a good evening, everybody. And the frequency, if anyone wants it, is all yours.